first speech. This is the second first speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech, which will actually be your third speech. The purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. Part of that then is the assumption is you will take that feedback, go and use it for your second speech and see what happens.
All right, Portia, if you want to unmute yourself, you can do my...
Definitely. So tonight, Sharon is giving a speech from the Leadership Development Pathway, Evaluation and Feedback Speech 1. When something happens in a split second, what is your reaction? Tonight, Sharon is going to tell us just that on something that happened this summer. So her speech title for Sharon, Anything Can Happen in a Split Second. Take it away.
All right. Let me go here. Can everybody see my PowerPoint? Awesome. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It's amazing what can happen in a split second. I'm going to give you just a little bit of information so as I'm telling the story, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is my parents' camp from the side of the lake that faces, the camp. As you can see on the front of it, there's some big windows. Those are actually screened, that has that whole porch screened in. Then my father created what we call storm windows. So he has these plexiglass windows that go in, and then you just have to screw them in. So sometimes when it's windy or in the winter time, they put these up so that, you know, the snow doesn't come in, or if it's raining, the rain doesn't come in onto the porch. So that's the basic front of the camp. This is the porch from the inside. As you can see, I didn't get a very good picture, but as you can see, the windows are all screened in on the front of it. So picture this. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. It's mid to late afternoon. We've all been playing in the water all day long. It's been such a beautiful day. It's been in the 90s most of the week. So we literally have lived in the water all week long. The boys decide that they're going to head out on the fishing boat and go fishing. There's my father, my brother, and my brother-in-law. All of us women hung out on the porch and we're just chatting, drinking sangrias, watching the kids. And literally in a split second, we had hurricane-like winds, we had hurricane-like waves. I mean, the waves were just white caps on the lake, and just the rain was just gushing into the windows. So my niece and I jump up. Of course, we'd all gotten out of our wet clothes. I was just in a nightgown that hung down. My niece and I are trying to struggle with these plexiglass windows that have like a board frame, trying to push them into where they belong, while the whole time being pushed back away from the windows by the wind. They just kept, the whole window just pushed that wind back, and we were trying to push them in between the two of us, just struggling to get these in. Finally, after about 5 minutes, we get two of them in. The floor is soaked. We have an 11-month-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 4.5-year-old great nephews that I have there. Of course, what's the first thing they all do? Go straight for the water on the porch that's already come in and caked in. Well, as you can see in the picture behind me, there's a pontoon. We also have a pontoon boat. And on the pontoon boat, we have sea legs. So for those of you that don't know what sea legs are, on the pontoon boat, it's that we can push a button that lowers the legs, which raises the boat up out of the water. So that when the boat's parked, you don't have to tie it off because it's just standing there in the water. Well, when my father had decided to park the boat, he didn't put the sea legs all the way down. Well, by the time my niece and I finished struggling trying to get these windows in, the pontoon boat had literally started to walk away from the dock. So as you can imagine, these hurricane-like winds, waves like you wouldn't believe coming off the lake, and this boat just kind of walking side away. So by the time we get done, I go running down the porch stairs, get down to the dock, I go running into the water, nightgown and all, grab the rope from the front of the boat, get back up onto the dock, tie the front end of it in to just try and hold it in place so it doesn't like totally walk away from us and get to the point where the sea legs aren't touching the ground at all and the whole boat floats off. By this time, the men are finally back trying to come in with the fishing boat. And of course, every time they try to get a little bit closer so one of the guys can jump off, a wave comes up and a wind and brings them in, and they literally come within inches of crashing into the back of the pontoon boat. You wouldn't believe how many times this happened. Finally, they were able to get close enough without hitting the pontoon. Of course, by this time, the back end is still trying to walk away, so the pontoon's kind of sitting crooked. I'm sitting there holding the rope for the front of it, trying not to move it. My father's able to get off. Well, he jumps off. My brother says, I'm going to go to the dike. We'll meet you at the boat landing, grab my truck when you get everything settled here. My father gets on the dock, decides to jump in the water to get up on the back of the pontoon, to get onto it, to raise the legs, start her up and move her back. Like some of us that wear glasses, you should never dive into the water with glasses on or contacts, because guess what happened when he came up out of the water? No glasses. So I'm standing there, my nightgown half wet. I hollered to my niece, bring down my bathing suit top and the goggles. So by this time, thankfully, the rain had stopped. The winds had slowed down, but we still had the massive waves coming and going. So right in the middle of the dock, I just whip my nightgown off, throw the bathing suit top on, go diving in the water, and believe it or not, I found the glasses. Because let me tell you, glasses are not cheap for anybody that has to wear them. So finally, we get everything settled. The boat's taken care of. My father goes down to the dike with the truck and the trailer and gets the car picked up. My brother and the boat picked up. And we're just laughing hysterically. Well, within the course of 5 minutes, this all happens. 10 minutes later, look what we had. Absolutely perfectly still water. Beautiful sunsets. And that's what the water looked like just before this freak hurricane hit. And I call it a hurricane because that's exactly what it felt like. The winds were so strong in this cove and the waves were so high. We had white caps on the waves. 10 minutes later, we have this beautiful sunset. The water's calmed right down. We all hop back in the water. So I just want to share a couple of fun things from camp that where else can it happen? But you have little friends that like to feed off your lap. So we ended up naming our chipmunks. We have 5 of them. We have Fred, Ralph, Max, Effie, and Joni. So needless to say, they came to visit a little bit. And where else can this happen? And it's amazing how fast and how quick that happened up there in camp, literally a split second. And my first reaction and my younger niece's first reaction was jump up, cover the windows, and then, oh my God, we need to save the boat. So sometimes when something like that happens to you, I'd love to hear your experience with your, oh my God, it can happen in a split second. What is your reaction? Thank you. And timer, can we have a minute for evaluation?